Hey, welcome back to another Movie Reviews to Go, and today I'm going to be reviewing the movie Dunkirk by Christopher Nolan, who directed it and wrote it. Man, that guy has a mind and a vision to put together a story and then visually show us that story. And you can tell that he really has a lot of passion for the projects that he works on. The time and effort that he puts in, the research that he puts in to make sure that he gets things right. And I love this movie because he really took that time to make sure that everything was authentic. You'll see what I mean when you go watch it. I mean, everything is real. I really don't think, and I don't know, maybe the CGI is getting good, but I did not notice that there were any CGI even used in this movie. So hats off to that. I mean, he went for the realism in this movie, which, by the way, that's what you're going to get in this movie. I went and saw the movie on IMAX, and if you have a chance to see it on IMAX, that's my recommendation for sure. Go see it in IMAX. It is definitely a better experience, I think. I don't know. I didn't get to see it in a smaller screen, but the IMAX, I can tell you firsthand, that's the way to go. The sound, the big image, he used IMAX cameras for this movie, and he really got some awesome footage to show us in the movie, and I recommend IMAX. Now, the movie centers around these soldiers who are trying to get off this beach in France to get back to England. About 400,000 soldiers that are stuck there waiting for a ride home. And the Germans are coming up behind them and getting ready to take them out. The movie starts with our main character of the movie. Now, to be honest, I have no idea who the characters were. I don't remember their names. You know what? Even the actors, I didn't really know them. I think he picked a lot of unknown actors to be these young soldiers, which probably worked for the best. And I think he got some great stuff out of them. But we start off, and I gotta tell you that from the beginning to the end of the movie, this thing is just like suspense, action, thriller, white knuckle, edge of your seat type moments. I remember when I was watching it, the first shot that came out, I startled, I jumped, because the sound of this movie was amazing. It was so good. I gotta give props to the sound guys that put together all the audio for the gunshots, the airplanes, the explosions. I mean, every little detail was so perfect, which made the experience even better. I think that's what Christopher Nolan was going with this movie. There's not a whole lot of like story or, resolution of anything really. It's just mainly us watching how these guys, these soldiers got off this beach and back to England, and what they went through. And I think he really wanted to put us in there, like we were at that war in the trenches with these guys, experiencing all that, just the horrible stuff, like just the thoughts that will go through their minds, knowing that I could die today, right now, any second, something could come out and just kill me. And I had that feeling. I sat there in that theater, and when the movie was done, I got up and I was like all hot and sweaty because I was like so tense because of so many great moments in the movie. The main actor takes us throughout the movie from the beginning to the end, and it's, like I said, I don't remember his name, but I thought he did a good job. One thing that was surprising, which was funny, my son came with me to this show, to this screening, and, he's a teenager, and he knows who Harry Styles is, One Direction. But he came out of the movie and he's like, wait, I thought you said Harry Styles was in the movie. I'm like, yeah, didn't you see him? He was one of those soldier guys in the movie. And he's like, no, which one was he? And I'm like, trying to explain it to him, and he's like, oh, really? I didn't even recognize him. If you don't know who he is, or if you do know who he is, hopefully you'll point him out. My son had no idea. He thought he had missed him. He's like, wait, I thought he was in the movie. It was funny. But Harry Styles, One Direction, hey, he did a good job. I thought he sold his character really well. He did what he was supposed to, and it paid off for the movie. Let's see, we got Kenneth Branagh's in it. We have Cillian Murphy. Again, these are familiar names if you watch any of Christopher Nolan's movies. These are all guys that have been in a lot of his movies, by the way. Then we've got some of the new main actors. I guess there's some unknowns. They did such a good job. We also have Tom Hardy, who his character didn't have many lines. I think if I read somewhere, I think he said that he had like 10 lines in the whole movie. And he's one of the pilots that were sent out to help with cover, firepower, to try and kind of get the Germans off the beach while, the soldiers are coming back on boats, also for looking out for destroyers, so on, that, cover fire. And his character, even though he said very little in the movie, I thought his character was great. He did a great job. It was a pivotal part of the movie, I thought. I'm not a big fan of these kind of movies because, the realism, it's hard to watch sometimes, but it's good to watch. It's good to know what people went through in that situation. We weren't alive when World War II happened, and a lot of us don't know what happened. We take, stuff for granted, and it's good to see this to really get a sense of the important work that was done because of what these men and the different roles that everyone played. And Christopher Nolan really nailed that part of the movie. The movie is slow. There are moments where, there's not a lot said, not a lot of dialogue. I think, if you were to look at the script, it was probably like 30 pages. Well, no. Okay, there was a little more script than that, but, there wasn't a lot of dialogue, but there was a lot of emotional things, physical things happening that told the story really well. And I really enjoyed that. My son, he's 15, and he came out he loved the movie. He really enjoyed the things that he saw. He understood more of what happened back then. He appreciated the performances because he came out understanding the important things that went on and just the realism of, he came out and told me stuff like, I could feel the bullets when they were flying through or shooting through the steel and like I could feel all that stuff, and that has to do a lot with the sound, but the camera angles and the cinematography, everything just works so good. That's what I took out from the movie. And, it doesn't tell a story about who this guy is and what he goes through to the end, because we don't really get to know any of the characters. We meet them and they kind of take us through the motions of the movie, but they don't, I don't feel like we got to care a lot about who they were or what happened, but we cared about the situations they were in, and we felt for them because of what they had to go through. And that's what I really enjoyed about this movie. So, other movies, you get the main character and he's supposed to have this arc and resolution, and then the movie ends and so on. But we get that somewhat with this movie, but it's more of just experiencing what happens in those situations. And man, I gotta tell you, it was such a powerful movie. I loved it. Everything about it was great. I definitely want you to go see it. I think you should. So if you take anything else from this review, it's worth seeing in IMAX, and try and get not in the back, more like in the middle, obviously not in the front. The more you can just kind of get the screen where you have to almost look around and you can just feel the sound hitting you, you're going to get a great experience. I'm telling you, the sound is amazing, made the movie that much better. And in the IMAX screen, it was just a great experience. So go see it in IMAX. I hope that you will enjoy as much as I did. And, leave me your comments below. I'm curious to see what people think of this movie, because it's definitely one of those, it's not Batman Begins, it's not Inception, and it has no special effects. I think everything was real. Everything was done with real planes, real boats, everything. And that was really cool to see. And so I want to know your comments. Thanks for coming again for this review. I'm going to put out some more. I've got more movies coming out. I've got some Blu-rays I've been watching, and I do still want to do a review or a thing of what's behind me, all the little things that I have. I've got a lot of cool little movie trinkets here and there. But thanks again for coming. Give me a thumbs up if you like what I'm doing, and if you're new, subscribe. You should have done that when the video started if you were new. So subscribe. And again, I appreciate everyone that shows up. And as always, I hope that you guys are watching movies because I know that I am.